Howdy y'all, and good now whenever and wherever this finds you. Today's video is going to be about understanding corporate power and how it controls us, what we can do as individuals to become more aware and conscious of what's happening and let go of what we're being told and start paying attention to what we see. This video starts out with a statement from Teddy Roosevelt about political parties and how they've been corrupted and how they're actually controlled by an invisible government. Our first duty as citizens is to dissolve this corporate power. And let's see what Teddy has to say. Political parties exist to secure responsible government and to execute the will of the people. From these great tasks, both the old parties have turned aside. Instead of instruments to promote the general welfare, they have become the tools of corrupt interests which use them impartially to serve their selfish purposes. Behind the obsessive government sits enthroned an invisible government, owing it no allegiance and acknowledging no responsibility to the people. To destroy this invisible government, to dissolve the unholy alliance between corrupt businesses and corrupt politics is the first task of the statesmanship of the day. The deliberate betrayal of the trust of the Republican Party and the fatal incapacity of the Democratic Party to deal with the new issues of the new time have compelled the people to forge a new instrument of government through which to give effect to their will in law and institutions. Unhampered by tradition, uncorrupted by power, undismayed by the magnitude of the task, the new party offers itself as an instrument of the people to sweep away the old abuses and build a new and nobler commonwealth. That was in 1912, and it's just as relevant today as ever. It's now for us, the people, to become personally responsible, to see what's happening and ignore what we're being told, because what we're being told does not match what's happening. What the politicians say and what they do is a perfect example of how what we're being told is not what's happening, and we're being guided to follow people who are just corporate tools, because as we will see in this video, if they step outside the corporate line, they're finished.
George Norcross, I think for third.
Right.
You know, how did this white guy who doesn't even live there come to be what you describe as the overlord of Camden?
Norcross is a perfect example of how an oligarchic, largely white power structure works. And that's a microcosm. That's just writ large throughout the country. Because on a national level, it is utterly impossible for an American citizen to vote against the interests of Goldman Sachs. That's what living in a corporate state means.
Explain what you mean by that.
It means that we have devolved into what Sheldon Wolin calls inverted totalitarianism. It's not classical totalitarianism. It doesn't find its expression through a demagogue or a charismatic leader, but through the anonymity of the corporate state.
I need to interject here that this is an old video and before Trump had reached the scene. However, it does point to the time when a charismatic leader would step up and take the stage.
That in inverted totalitarianism, you have corporate forces that purport to be loyal to the Constitution and electoral politics and the iconography and language of American patriotism, and yet internally have seized all levers of power. So the Supreme Court is just a wholly owned corporate subsidiary. Our legislative branch passes pieces of legislation that are written by corporate lobbyists. And if anyone so much as whispers against corporate interests or fails to pay them enough deference, they destroy them. We should have gone the other way towards a general strike and stayed out of the power system because we can't win there anymore. Every elected official knows that once they're in office, if they dare to challenge, even in an incredibly minor way, what corporations want, they're finished.
And so we can't count on them, and therefore back to we need to count on ourselves. And by becoming aware and conscious and elevating ourselves to a higher level of awareness, we will connect with others in that same place, and together we will make a difference. I say we will, and I really don't know. Who knows where we're going? And it's generally to a better place than what I imagine. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you down the road.